think to understand how I built this, I'm involved in a number of businesses. I'm a typical entrepreneur. I'm all over the place like most of you are. And I think to understand how I built this, you've got to go back a little bit and sort of look at my background. So I'm winging this, by the way. All right. So if I look back at my schooling career, I went to 7 different schools. And I called no less than 18 places home in my first 18 years of growing up. And this was, I grew up in a family with an abundance of love, an abundance of everything money cannot buy. But unfortunately, times were tough and we moved around a lot. And in hindsight, if I look at it today, I think, well, my dad was actually entrepreneurial by nature. The problem is in the old days, it was a story of you've got to work for somebody, you've got to get a job. And I think that's the route he went, and he ended up making a lot of people a lot of money, but we always just battled along and went along and went along. But anyway, let's fast forward. My love for the industry I'm in the outdoor team building, adventure, education industry, and then there's been a few things that's bolted on that over the years. But my love for that came when I was in grade 11 at school. And it's quite interesting, Vivek, your theme this year is Ubuntu. And I believe my success or my journey in life has always been through the whole Ubuntu system. So when I was in grade 11, I got sponsored to go on a leadership camp in the Drakensberg, the old Felt and Flay days. I don't know if there's anybody old enough to remember Felt and Flay. There we go. Right, okay. So I went there, I had this big bush of hair, believe it or not, very shy guy. And it was at this camp where one of the facilitators actually came to me and said, listen, we think you'd be a good facilitator. We think you'd be good in this industry and help develop youngsters. You should come back. And that's where my love for adventure started. When I say adventure, abseiling and climbing and rafting and kayaking, and definitely no cold water, right? It's like not me, right? But my love for adventure started there. And in matric, I was blessed enough to be quite good at sport. I managed to get a bursary, rugby bursary, to go to RAU, RAU, now UJ in Johannesburg. And from school, ended up going there. Definitely wasn't because of my academics, because I was either on the rugby field or out in the bush doing something adventurous. But when I got to university, reality hit me. You might have been a big shot in your small little town, but when it came to RAU, if you think of the 95 World Cup rugby winning team, 11 of those players were at varsity with us. The competition was rife. I sadly had a bad, sadly, but maybe a good thing, had a bad injury, which ended my sporting career. And I was studying a BCom degree in sports management, and I majored in industrial psychology, which little did I know would help me later in life. So fast forward a little bit, during varsity, my entrepreneurial nature came through. I had a lot of little side hustles. I was doing personal training. I was supplying security staff to Ellis Park. I was selling T-shirts to the Under-21 World Cup. I was wheeling and dealing wherever I was. I think I was the first guy at university to actually have a cell phone, one of those big Motorola's with a big aerial and the flip thing. And I managed to buy my BMW, the old box shape. I think it cost me 10,000 Rand, and I think I spent about 40 fixing it. But I was super cool, and the chicks digged it, so I did all right. Anyway, from there, I ended up working for a school, coaching sport. Next thing I knew, I was a sports director at the school. And it's there where I realized I could take my passion and turn it into a business. Because during this time, I was doing little corporate events, taking people away. I was doing school trips, doing school tours. But when I was teaching, I realized there was a big gap in the market that all people like having kids. I don't know why, right? And there was an abundance of kids coming through all the time. And of course, the schools had to do outdoor education. And there was this big leadership development drive that's always been going on. And sort of like an holistic learning, experiential learning. And I saw the gap to say, well, listen, I can do tours and tours and tours and tours. Started doing tours on the side, started building my business, started doing a few corporate groups. Next thing I knew, I was headhunted to another private school in Mpumalanga. My job was going on overseas tours with sports teams. And it was at one of those when I was away where my family phoned me and said, you better come back, because there's so many schools looking for you to come and run their tours and come back. I tried to do the UK thing for 2 years. I lasted 6 weeks, hated it, came back. And that's where my business started. Yeah, in Durban, first little office in Devonport Centre in Durban. I had a blow-up lilo in the cupboard because I lived out on the farm. So I would work late, sleep on the blow-up lilo, couldn't afford a mattress. I'd wake up in the morning, go to the gym and have a shower and make myself look pretty. I used to have hair in those days. And so the business grew and grew and grew. And we started getting more and more schools in there. We started building a reputation with schools. We built a reputation with the corporates. The next thing, 2010 came up. We won the tender to do all the fan parks for FIFA. Very successful. At the end of FIFA, nobody knew what to do with all the activation and branding equipment they did. The municipality said they spent millions on it, didn't know what to do. I saw the gap. I started a thing called the Branding Warehouse. We were involved in activation. Suddenly the big brands were looking at us from an activation point of view. Later, I had a client wanting a venue for 500 people, and I couldn't find a venue in Durban. And I thought, well, if we can't find one, we'll make one. And we started geodesic domes. Our business grew into a dome business. One drunken night, myself and a friend decided we're going to make some gin. We eventually had a bottle of gin go to the shelf. And then another friend of ours who's sitting here today had huge FOMO and nagged us until we pulled him in and we bought a brewery together. And we had all these little passion projects. And my entrepreneurial nature just kept coming through. There was always opportunity. In COVID, we opened up a surfboard manufacturing business, exporting internationally. And it's all these little things. And the problem I see from my side is I love passion projects. I love doing things I enjoy doing. And when there's opportunity, you grab at it, you know. Our business evolved into so many different areas, and it's quite befitting that our business was called the Ventures Group, because the group of companies just kept growing and growing and growing. The Christmas industry, we used to supply staff to one of our neighbors, and he eventually moved out and he ended up taking over his business, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And my story that I want to say to you is do what you enjoy doing, and because life's too short not to enjoy it. I was chatting to Jason now and saying, when is enough enough? But my journey's been there, and who knows what the next venture will be, what will be next. There's opportunity to grow, but as it stands, we currently have about 1,000 kids a week on camps throughout South Africa. We work with over 200 corporate companies on the conferencing and eventing and team building. And I myself, I still get my hands dirty. I enjoy doing it because what else would you be doing? But thank you very much.